Hello Mallards, it is Thursday and I am outside of the Rollins Black Box Theater because I am going to see a student-directed show with Ed. This show is about Marie Curie and I don't really know much else. The show is about to start, but Ed and I have the best seats in the house, front row. Look, there's the edge of the stage. Ed, watch your cane, don't put it on stage. Gosh. This is fun because the last time I was here we were in the round, so I'm delighted to see this lovely thrust stage this time. I also did look up the name of the show between when I walked in and right now, and it's The Half-Life of Marie Curie. There it is. This cover is really cute. There are only 2 characters in the whole show, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that shakes down. And obviously, as I said, I know nothing, but that's the way that I like it. So we'll enjoy this show together. And by that I mean I will enjoy it, you will not watch it because I'm not filming a show. The show is over. They're about to do a talk back, which is why all these chairs are set up. So I will give full thoughts after we, hear all the information. But initially, I loved the show. It was fascinating to me. It was full of stuff I didn't know. I know a lot more about Madame Curie now. And I thought that was really interesting. I had never heard of Hertha before. And so I learned all of that brand new. And it was really, it's interesting. It's got a lot of cool historical context, and then it's got a lot of really important relationship context. The show is over and the talkback is over. Got some interesting insight in not only to how this play was produced and chosen, and how all of the student directeds are chosen, but also got some information about the playwright, who has apparently also written another play about an astrophysicist, a female astrophysicist, and I'm definitely gonna have to look that up because I was obsessed with this script. The way the dialogue was done was very witty. The characters had it was very interesting depth. It is a story about Madame Curie, but it is about the summer of 1912 when she went to England to escape a scandal about her having an affair. So it's rooted in emotions and relationships instead of necessarily in the science, while still addressing her impact on the scientific world. And I thought that the building of the characters was really interesting. And I think that the script itself is brilliant. And so I would like to read more by this particular playwright. I like the way that she creates things. And I was obsessed too with, there were several, they called them, what did she call them? Odes. But there are several monologue portions where they are directly addressing the audience mixed with the actual dialogue interacting with each other. And I thought that the mixture of those two things and sort of the way the whole show was put together was really cool.
I loved how they were gutsy and forthright and aware of a difficult world in which they were living, and caring and human and friends.
Yes.
That was very strong and yet brilliant.
It is such a great show about female friendship. 100 out of 10. Do this show. Read this show. Enjoy this show. Apparently it was commissioned for Audible, so I guess you can listen to it on Audible. If you have Audible, do that.
Wow.
I'll probably look it up on Audible and link it down below.
And I agree that the sound was interesting.
Yes, great at the sound design, and it was so cool. There were some really interesting, so there are several moments. So there are some moments in the beginning where the characters, so there are 2 characters in the show, Madame Curie and a woman named Hertha Ayrton, who is also a pretty prominent female scientist that I knew nothing about because I didn't science. But
neither did I, and I did.
Yeah, so there were some very interesting sound design bits, and particularly at the beginning in Hertha's monologue, she talks about the sound that lights used to make that she stopped from happening, and they play a sound like that. And then Madame Curie carries around a vial of radium, And every time that is pulled out, there's a specific sound that plays that evokes not only like it is like a sound of radiation, but it also is got this sort of like ticking clock feel.
Yeah.
But it is not a ticking clock. It is apparently a heartbeat with the in-between pulses cut out, pitched up. And it is super effective.
Way to go, Gray.
Yeah, fantastic choice
Gray
for sound
Lefkowitz,
design.
the sound person.
Anything else that you want to address specifically?
Well, just that the balance between life and discovery from nature and going beyond is awesome in this piece. It reminded me of a postcard I read from Einstein where he outlined his family and what was going on and how they were well after an illness or something like that, and how now had a new child in the family. And then as almost like a postscript, he mentioned what he was doing in the science, which was earth-shattering. If you know the science, you say, you're doing that, you discovered that, wow,
Yeah, but I did appreciate that.
But he just sort of threw it in there because people count first.
Yeah. I will say that the other thing that this script and show did was give me a different appreciation for Albert Einstein. I can't decide if I like him more or less at the end of this. We got to see both sides, but it certainly did give me a better appreciation for the man, which was another interesting thing. So one of the things they say in this play, and then one of the things that the actors mentioned in the talkback, is that there isn't room for women to be people. And then they talked about how historic figures tend to not be people. And I would say that I fall into that a lot. I don't really know much about Albert Einstein. I've never heard of Hertha Ayrton. And the things that I do know about Madame Curie are mostly science-based, although a fair amount about the Petite Curies, the mobile x-rays, but only because they're in an episode of Doctor Who. And I'm that type of nerd.
I saw that at a big banquet one time, when they were honoring various people of the century, 3 people sat together. One was Einstein, one was Winston Churchill, and the other was Carl Jung. I wondered what they talked about.
Yeah. It's interesting, and the answer is probably their grandkids.
Yeah.
Because they're people. Yeah. The show is still going on this weekend, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you can still go see the show. Link below, as always, to a link to where you can get tickets. And also, I'm gonna look up the Audible version of the show. So if you're watching this and you're not in Orlando, you could still listen to I'm just going to go and say far less superior version of the show because it can't be as good as this one. It wasn't done by the incredible students at Rollins.
They imbued the sense of science from a non-science background. They admitted it in the talkback. I don't know what this means, but I sure wanted to embody it, and they did.
Yeah, absolutely. 100 out of 10 would recommend this show, especially to women, but I think that it's vitally important that men attend something like this and see something like this too. Like, you'll get a different experience out of it. I think that it will help women to see a portrayal of a true female friendship that is non-competitive and really shows like the care and also the struggle, and that men could benefit from remembering that women can do stuff too.
I take from it a sense of hope that we can outlast some negatives.
Yeah, that would be nice. And I will see you tomorrow.